Hi, Dustin Harris here, better known as the Appraiser Coach. I want to thank you for coming by this website. I'm sure you're here to get the free report, no obligation. The report is called The 10 Biggest Mistakes That Most Appraisers Make in Running Their Businesses, and how you can dramatically increase your profits by avoiding these costly blunders. Why did I write this report? Well, listen, I've been a real estate appraiser for 2 decades now. I made all the mistakes in the book the first half of those 2 decades. In fact, the first dozen or so years, I was doing what every other appraiser was out there doing. Hey, I thought that's what you were supposed to do. As a consequence, I was getting what most every other appraiser is getting. I was working 60 hours plus a week. That means I was working the evenings. That means I was working the weekends. And what did I get as a result? Well, I was making $50,000 to $100,000 a year. Keep in mind that's gross, and you and I both know as a self-employed individual, making $50,000 to $100,000 a year gross salary after overhead and after Uncle Sam, well, it doesn't translate into much spending money. I found that I was working far too hard for far too little. I wanted to do something different. As a consequence, I decided that I would look to the other greats, the other successful people in the world, both living and dead. Find out what they did that was so much different than what the world was doing. As I did this study, I found that I was reading more. I was shadowing individuals that I found to be successful individuals. I was involving myself in masterminds where I could get together with other successful people and we could bounce ideas off each other. As a consequence, I developed what I call the principles of prosperity. These are truths, ancient truths, if you will, that all successful people subscribe to. I then took these successful principles of prosperity and started implementing them in my appraisal business. As a consequence, I went from working 60 hours plus a week and making that $50,000 to $100,000 mark every year consistently, to working less than 40 hours a week in my appraisal business and making consistently over $500,000 a year. I found that these principles were universal, that they could be used over and over and over again, and it didn't matter if the economy was bad or good, it didn't matter whether the market was good or bad, these principles always and consistently work. As a consequence, I became very successful as a real estate appraiser, and then I decided to go start teaching this to others. That's where I became the Appraiser Coach. I invite you to take a look at theappraisercoach.com. There you'll find my story, my background, and how I became the Appraiser Coach. You'll also find some of these principles of prosperity, but I invite you to sign up for my newsletter, which is sent out on a periodic basis. In fact, frequently in your email box, you'll get one of my articles. Those articles will teach you about the principles of prosperity, but more importantly, they'll teach you how to implement those principles of prosperity in your own appraisal business. And you'll find that just like me, you'll be much more successful as a real estate appraiser. It's a great feeling to work less and make more, and I know that you can do it as well. Again, I thank you for coming. Be sure to put your name and email address in over here. No obligation to get this free report. Again, the 10 biggest mistakes that most appraisers make in running their appraisal business. Stop making the mistakes that I made for so many years. I was able to write this book because I'm an expert in all of these mistakes. But you don't have to be. You can be different than the rest, and you can be successful as a real estate appraiser. I know you can. I wish you the greatest success, and I tell you now to go create some value.